Let's get you more information about that from Kevin Samuelson, CEO of Infor, joining us right now. Kevin, lovely to have you on the show. Thank you very much for your time. Obviously, you would say you're doing path-breaking work when it comes to, really developing AI tools, AI-enabled tools, when it comes to all the problems out there that perhaps need swifter solutions. But what would you say to Pope Francis and other world leaders? How would you react to the concern which all of these very influential leaders of the world have regarding ethical AI?
Well, first, thank you very much for having me. Very much appreciate it. I think, listen, any early stage technology, when we're in the beginning like we are now, has both the opportunity for tremendous upside, but there's always risk as well. So I think all of us in business, maybe even in religion, just need to be cognizant of, are we making sure we're using data for the right outcomes that are generating productivity and goodness? And that's certainly what we're focused on here at Infor. And I think most of the companies that I've met and worked with are equally focused on ensuring that the products that we deliver do a lot of good while being very, very careful with data.
Very, very careful with data. But how can all stakeholders work together, in your view, as you look to expand as well, to regulate the sector's growth?
Well, I think it's such early days in the evolution of Gen AI. I think it's probably a little bit early to get a little overextended around regulation, but it's certainly very important that everyone is looking closely at exactly what's happening, where risk exists, where opportunities exist. And I think as a more fuller picture forms over the coming weeks, months, and quarters, I think it'll be much more clear where risk exists and therefore where we think regulation may have a role.
Kevin, I suppose it's very timely that you're here in Asia, because a lot of the conversations we've been having here at CNBC is how can Asia play a role in this AI theme that we're seeing? And a lot of the talk we've been having with people who've been coming on our show is around some of the secondary effects in this part of the world, things like cybersecurity, cooling of the data centers, and some of the energy plays as well. So that's certainly a lot of the excitement from an investment theme. Can you tell us, because you're sitting in Japan right now, which has got a lot of people talking in terms of what that country can play a role in terms of AI around, what you're actually doing here and where you're off to next?
Sure. Yeah, so to give you some context, we're about a $3.5 billion company with about 20,000 employees. And what makes Infor different is that we're laser focused on just a few industries, and in particular, manufacturing. So to answer your question, both around Gen AI and what I'm doing here, I think it goes without saying that Asia Pacific is an extraordinary hub for manufacturing. Almost half of the world's manufacturing happens here on the continent. So I think it's incredibly important when you think about Gen AI and use cases, and we talked about the importance of data. Asia needs to be at the center of that conversation. That's where an extraordinary amount of value will be created, both for companies in Asia, but for companies all over the world. And with our focus in manufacturing and building AI and Gen AI capabilities that are purpose-built for manufacturers, it's incredibly core to us. So yeah, I'll be in Asia for a bit. I'm going to Southeast Asia. I'll be here. I'll be in Manila. So excited to get more exposure to the markets, the customers, to understand where the most value could be created.
Yeah, I'm interested in how you're going to be able to navigate what some have called a sort of patchwork regulatory system here out in Asia, which is different to what we're seeing in places like the EU. But I do want to get your thoughts on China, because you have previously said, and I picked this up from Chinese state media, that you see huge potential in the China market and will continue to seek growth opportunities. And around 2 years ago, you did say that you expect it to become one of the biggest markets in the coming years. Tell us about that. Have you seen that?
Sure. So as I mentioned, we're very, very focused on manufacturing. So as you well know, there is no country bigger and more important for manufacturing than China. And we see not just local Chinese companies, but obviously a huge portion of our customers in the US, in Europe, and in Asia have big operations in China. So indeed, we have seen quite a lot of growth as companies continue to expand. And we focus on cloud software. So that whole evolution to the cloud is happening in China as well, again, both for local companies as well as our customers abroad. And so that continued expansion, that move to the cloud, that's been a great tailwind to us. And we're partnered with AWS very closely. So that ensures that there's great data security and the like. So we feel very good about our approach to China.
All right, so you are working on data security when it comes to the work that you're doing in China. I want to ask you a broader question. You know, whenever we talk about AI and the development of AI and the evolution of AI, it's more US-centric. It's spilling over into Europe. China is grabbing some bit of the headlines, but what's the potential value-wise for your business in terms of how much scope and scale and contribution can come from Asia's implementation of AI in, let's say, the next 5 years as part of your revenue mix?
Sure. So I think, as I mentioned, we're very focused in manufacturing and distribution, and over half of that takes place here in this region. So when I think about value creation, it's not just how much revenue we'll have directly from Asian customers, although obviously we expect that to grow, and it's an exciting, dynamic region that's having more economic growth than any other. But also, it's a huge value generation opportunity for our US customers and European customers as well. So that hub, that notion of this being the center for manufacturing, for supply chains, it's critical to AI and Gen AI and value creation. I think it will be for the next 5 years, 10 years, and beyond.
Well, we wish you the very best, Kevin.
Yeah, thank you so much for that conversation, Kevin. That's all we have time for this morning. We wish you all the best for your trip around Asia. Kevin Samuelson of Infor joining us there from Tokyo.